Today's talk is on easy to grow plants, and I've grabbed a bit of a range of what I think are easy to grow plants in the garden, and there's probably hundreds of others, but these are often popular ones that we sell in the store and people have a lot of luck with and find them, you know, quite easy to grow. I thought I'd just mention a couple of indoor plants along the same lines. And a lot of people have problems with watering. One of the biggest issues people have indoors is watering the plants correctly. So the ones I've picked are very durable, and particularly that one needs minimal water. We water them in store here probably once every 6 weeks.
Okay.
So, and they're used a lot in office environments for that reason.
What's that?
You know, you walk into an office and no light, no natural light, air conditioning going, no one waters the plants, and they need something that's green and hardy and going to tolerate all that. It's a plant called Zanzibar gem, and it's a slow growing plant. It's a very modern type look, very dark green glossy leaf, but a very easy plant to grow and tolerates really, really dry conditions. That's another one, you probably know that, and there's various types of these. This is what's called Madonna lily, and they like low light, so they'll tolerate low light conditions inside. Same with the Zanzibar, that's really good in low light areas. These can produce a white flower, which is a bonus, depending on where they are indoors. But if you need a durable sort of plant that tolerates not a very well lit room, then you can't beat those. They're that nice, lush, dark green, tropical look. You probably know those. They're mother-in-law's tongue. It's a succulent. So being a succulent doesn't like a lot of water. And again, a lot of people kill it from overwatering. Very easy to grow plant indoors. And again, will tolerate low light, and it's also used a lot in office environments for that reason. So they're probably three of the main indoor plants that, you know, I would certainly recommend. The garden's a bit different. So there's various spots in the garden where you might not have a lot of sun, you might have dry conditions under a tree, but you still need to be able to grow plants. And there's a few plants that will sort of fill those areas. This is actually flowering out of season. This is clivia, or clivia, sometimes known as. You know those? Great plant for dry shade in the garden. Tolerates no water at all in really...
Super plant.
What's that?
Super plant. We'd have 20 of those. They're great.
And it looks after itself. You don't have to do anything to it. It grows as a clump. It's always green. The occasional snail might munch on the leaves, but otherwise it grows really, really easily in that dry shaded area. And the flowers are spectacular. These are native to South Africa. Okay. So they're used to those really hot, you know, dry conditions. They will grow in the sun, but they tend to bleach. The leaves tend to go yellow if they're getting too much sun. So it's a particularly good plant for shade, as is that's hellebores. You know hellebores?
Got a few of those.
It's winter rose, and called winter rose because it flowers in the winter time and the flowers resemble a rose. Very good plant for underplanting larger trees or shrubs. Green all the time, flowers in the winter when a lot of other plants don't, and tolerates, once it's established, very dry conditions. Got a ground cover for shade. That's a native plant. This is native violet. Now, these grow like mad, and they'll cover a big area very quickly. You won't be able to see the ground once you let them go. But they always have flowers on them. They're always green. They'll tolerate dry conditions, and they'll tolerate a lot of shade. It's a very tough little ground cover. A ground cover for hot, sunny conditions, no water once established. This is convolvulus. Do you know those? They're easy to grow plants. Normally, through the warmer months particularly, they always have flowers on them. The rest of the year, you'll get the odd flower. It's a good plant for spilling over a retaining wall or on a rockery. You know, there's some planted up here in what's this road? We've got Banksia Street, and it runs into Manningham Road. So you drive up Manningham Road opposite the Bulleen Shopping Centre. There's some high walls with apartments, and they've planted this, and it's probably at least a metre drop on the plant, and doesn't get any care, you know, no water, and it's tough, and it's spectacular when it flowers. You know. This is a reasonably new plant. This is a hebe. All the hebes are hardy plants. This is a smaller leaf with a more compact flower and quite an attractive colour. But hebes, most hebes originate from New Zealand, so they're pretty tough plants. They grow well in hot exposed conditions or even with a bit of shade. Once a year, light pruning after flowering keeps them tidy. And they're evergreen and drought tolerant. It's a neat little bush. There's various types of what they call hawthorn or raphiolepis. We've got a hedge of this around the crepe myrtle. You can just see it through the windows here. Around the crepe myrtles outside. Evergreen, new sort of blush pink growth. White flowers in the springtime, and it gets quite a lot of flowers on it. But it's a fantastic low hedge. If you want an alternative plant to, say, English box, this is good in all seasons. It's green all the time, grows quickly, tolerates dry conditions once it's established, tolerates belting hot sun, so it's really good in, say, a northerly or westerly aspect in the garden. This is a wattle. It's a native plant, and it's a compact plant. Grows, again, probably no more than, say, a metre high. Has that mounding growth habit, and tolerates really hot, dry conditions. No pruning needed. It lends itself to growing in a pot and grows quickly. So if you need to, a lot of the landscapers like using it because it fills in areas quite quickly, you know. But it's a nice, this one's called limelight. There's various types of it, but the leaves have got that lighter green look. So if you've got a lot of the dark green in the garden, you want to break it up a little bit, then you could use the lighter green. They're tough as nails, really, really hardy plants. Hot, dry, exposed conditions, they'll grow happily. These are pomegranates, and pomegranates are very tough, deciduous tree. They are deciduous. The fruit, there's one around the corner from me where I live, totally neglected garden. The tree's about probably 2 metres high, and it's laden with pomegranates. The people obviously don't know what it is and don't eat pomegranate. Hot, exposed against the brick wall of a house, belting hot sun in the summertime, and it tolerates it, no problems at all. The plant tends to be fairly self-sufficient. It doesn't need a lot of pruning, but probably an annual prune would make it, you know, look better. They're developing new varieties of olives all the time. This one's a more compact variety. This is called Garden Harvest. So olive trees were all used to growing very large, you know, advanced tree. A lot of people haven't got space for those sort of plants anymore. So they're developing new varieties which still produce olives, which are compact, still have the silvery foliage, which is a good characteristic in olives. It's a nice contrast to green in the garden. Mediterranean plants, so they're used to really hot, dry conditions, and compact varieties, you can grow them in a pot. So a lot of people these days haven't got large gardens, they've got balcony gardens or courtyard gardens. They still want to grow fruit. So the dwarf varieties obviously lend themselves to that, and you still get the benefit when they're not fruiting of the nice foliage. Olives prune really well too, they make good topiary plant. So if you want a drought tolerant tree in the summer in Melbourne, they love the heat. Probably know nandina. That's a very commonly used plant, but the reason it is, one, because it has the spectacular autumn colours in the foliage, and you start to see them now in the gardens where they're just bright orange in some areas and bright red. These are just starting to turn. It's a plant and forget about it sort of plant. Kind of average up to about so high, so wide, without any care. Plant it and away it goes. And nice sort of limey green in the warmer months of the year, and then the spectacular colours in the autumn. But it doesn't lose its leaves, which is a benefit as well. There's various types of salvias, and new ones coming onto the market all the time. The salvias are, some are probably late summer into autumn flowering perennial plants. They resemble a bit lavenders. A lot of people think they're a lavender, but they're not a lavender. Very long flowering period. Various colours from blues through to purples, through reds and whites and pinks. Various heights. They all love really hot, sunny, dry conditions. And if you want long flowering in the garden, you can't beat salvias, particularly the summer colour. That's quite a nice one. That's called Mystic Spires. This is a reasonably new one. It's called Black and Blue. And the leaves on that are quite nice. The flowers have got that really dark sort of black in them, and they'll get a bit of blue like this as well. They haven't got a lot of flowers on them now because it is getting to the end of the flowering season. But you can imagine those mass planted. You know, a plant's going to grow up to about so high. Massive flowers, long flowering, easy to grow, heat tolerant, drought tolerant. You want a contrasting foliage again, that's the old lamb's ears. Very old plant, but still very popular plant.
It's a great ground cover.
It's a great ground cover. Grows in a lot of hot, open, sunny situations, and complements things like perennials, like the salvias or roses. You know, a lot of people used to use it around rose gardens, and it too gets a mauve flower on it. It's mainly grown for its leaf, but just a good contrasting, tough sort of spreading ground cover. And they grow quickly and easily. Various types of native grasses, and there's probably a new one every day of the week in the grasses. They're developing all the time. This is what they call dianella, and they've got that lovely steel blue sort of foliage. Not grown for a flower, it's more just as a foliage plant, but mass planted in a block can look fantastic. Tolerate really hot, dry conditions. That sort of foliage all year round. Another good low hedge. These are escalonias, and again it's got the nice dark green glossy leaf. This one has a pink flower, some of them have red flowers. Very good low hedge as an alternative to box if you wanted something with a bit of flower on it, and as an alternative in an area where you don't get it doesn't get a lot of water and gets a lot of hot sun. Very easy care plants, probably trim them once a year after flowering, and looks very effective mass planted as a border hedge. That's another ground cover. This is a plant called Grace Ward. They tend to flower mainly through spring with the odd flower through the warmer months of the year, but it's hard to get a nice blue flowering plant in the garden. And that's when this is in full flower in the spring, they look fantastic. It's durable, it's got that sort of tough, low spreading habit, and green all the time. Just a massive blue when it flowers. Called lithodora. There's a few different types of lithodora. The Grace Ward has got the darker blue. There is one that has a paler blue flower. It's easy to grow plant for a hot, sunny condition in the garden. I couldn't go past the succulents if you want, and they're sort of flavour of the month now. A whole range of foliage types and flower colours. This is echeveria, and some people look at the leaves and think it's got a problem. Looks like a disease, but that's the characteristic of the plant. The flowers come out and they're that orange and yellow sort of flower. But succulents speak for themselves. They tolerate, you know, hot, dry conditions, no water. Look good mass planted in a pot, on a patio, veranda. As long as they get a reasonable amount of sun, they're happy. Good sort of border plants in the garden if you wanted something that doesn't need much care. And there's all different leaf shapes and colours. You get the greys through the bronzy colours. They propagate really easily. You can break off little pieces and pop them in the ground.